Have you ever had a difficult person in your life who was already difficult before they came into your life, and now you're left wondering how to interact with them and how to deal with them? When I was a boy, we lived in a house on Bloomfield Road in Skowhegan, Maine. The house next door to us was a beautiful two-story brick home, and the man and the lady who lived there, at least the lady, had a reputation for not liking children. She hadn't liked the occupants who had lived in our home before us, and we were told not to expect any interaction. Stay away from her, leave her alone. She's mean, she's crotchety. She put up this fence just to stop the other kids from playing in her field and all of that. Well, my dad didn't buy that. My dad said, "Boys, you can win that lady over. You can change her opinion, but you're going to do it by being respectful. You stay off of her fence. You stay out of her field. If you see her, you be polite and you be kind." We were just young. But every day, as my brothers and I would walk home from school, and we would pass that house, that beautiful brick house, many times the lady would be out working in her flower gardens in the spring or in the summer, a beautifully manicured lawn. And we would just simply say, "Hi, Mrs. Hearns." Sometimes she wouldn't look up. Sometimes she would look up and stare at us and say nothing. But every day, "Hi, Mrs. Hearns." And then we would move on. I wondered if my dad knew what he was talking about. This lady was just mean. But we stayed off her fence. We didn't trespass on her property. And every day as we passed by, we just said hi. I remember after doing this for what felt like forever, it was probably a few years, one Christmas, my mom made a plate of cookies and sent us up the street to Mrs. Hearn's house to knock on the door. It was the first time in all of that time that we had even gone into her driveway. We walked up the driveway, we walked to her front door, we knocked on the door, and she came to the door with a stern look on her face, and we handed her the plate of goodies, and we said, "Merry Christmas." And something melted on her face. It wasn't much longer when I heard my mom say a few days later to my dad, "Preston, Mrs. Hearns is here." And Mrs. Hearns had come from her house down to ours with a Christmas basket to return the kindness. That shifted the relationship between our family and Mrs. Hearns. Now, when we walked by and said, "Hello, Mrs. Hearns," she would say, "Hello, boys." She learned our names. She began to smile. And many years later, when my wife and I were married and we were traveling back through my old hometown on our honeymoon, we stopped at the hotel that was owned by Mr. and Mrs. Hearns. And when they found out who we were, they comped us a night in the hotel, which for a young couple just starting out was pretty cool. I give my dad all the credit for that, because my dad knew you can't always change people's attitudes and impressions. You can't change the things that have happened to them in their past that have brought them to where they are. But what you can always do is be polite, be respectful, be kind. At the bottom of my stairs at our house right now is a paving stone that water has been dripping on for the past couple of years, and it's starting to wear it away. That's what water does. Just a little bit of a drip, time after time, wears it away. And that can be for good or for bad. Try it with good today. I wonder who Mrs. Hearns is in your life. That person who's just angry and bitter and caustic. You didn't do anything. They were already that way, but now you're in their life, and what can you do? Try what my dad recommended. Be respectful. Be kind. Don't do anything purposely to aggravate. And make it a goal, no matter how long it takes, to restore that person's faith in humanity. Do it with kindness. Invest the time. I'm glad we did. It's one of my favorite stories from growing up. Now, until next week, you go live your own story. Thanks for watching.